It's very relaxing to just come to my facility and mist cages and prune leaves and check soils, reseed bioactive enclosures, and that's what I want to talk about today. Is bioactive setups have become very popular in the reptile hobby, and along with that comes propagating live plants, comes bioactive substrates, naturalistic setups, and I want to talk a little bit about that today, but today I want to focus on substrate. We'll talk about bioactive setups, but today we're going to go get some substrate. I think it's the best substrate that you can use for your reptile cages. It's definitely my favorite, and it doesn't even cost me a penny. Let's go for a ride. Here we are. I am in an undisclosed location in Wisconsin with Mike from Mike's Monitors. There you are. And we are getting magic dirt for our Vivs. Mike is a huge proponent of magic dirt. I said this was free, but there's a little bit of a catch. I got to do some manual labor in order to earn my keep here. So let's get digging, and then we'll talk about this substrate and why it's my favorite substrate for reptiles.
Yeah, this stuff looks a little bit better.
This stuff looks a little bit better?
Because this is older.
So what makes it better?
What makes it better is see the size of the chips here
Yeah.
compared to the size of the chips. So the size of the chips over there are probably more like, like this. It's a little heavier, where this is nice and broke down.
And it's starting to break down a little bit,
Right.
yeah. And that's what you want, where it's not just chip, but it's the chip mixed in with like that broken down chip and all that organic matter. It's becoming more of like a soil.
Absolutely, yes. It's broken down, organic, compost almost, hardwoods.
I'm not in shape for this anymore. We need young people to come and dig substrate for us. But let's see what we got. Boom. Magic doit.
Magic.
I gotta clean that up. That's my bad. So where we come is property that's owned by the family of Mike and Karen, and we know that there's no pesticides, there's no chemicals. This pile of wood is not treated with anything before or after it's mulched. So it's all hardwood. There's no cedar, there's no pine, there's nothing in there that's gonna be problematic to the animals, right? You said it's all hardwood. Hickory, what is it? Oak?
Hickory, oak, maple, and I'm sure there's other hardwoods, but yeah, the pine and cedars and stuff like that doesn't make it to the chip pile. So when it comes back as used chips, that's what we take. It's been literally in somebody's flower beds and gardens for a year. Every year they change out. So that pile's got to be 50 years old. So.
Yeah, that's crazy. And we're digging down to the middle of it where it's not completely dead, but it's not completely fresh. We're digging in the middle where there are microorganisms galore and everything that is necessary for bioactivity. So I love the bioactive trend. I'm not gonna try and sound cocky or whatever, but before bioactive enclosures were popular, I was setting my tanks up and I was just using dirt from the hardware store, and I'd go out in my backyard and I'd grab a handful of dirt from my backyard and I just add it to my Viv because I understood that natural soil was necessary. I keep fish tanks and there's a certain level of beneficial bacteria in fish tanks. I don't think soil's much different. Yeah, dude, this property is amazing. So Wisconsin DNR is involved with it, or they're doing like native plant stuff here, right?
Yeah, what he's doing is, as you can see out in this field here, he's restoring it to natural, prairie plants. So all the invasives he kills, like we just saw him killing, and all the natural stuff they do, the burns, that's how these healthy meadows and prairies maintain themselves. The Nature's Conservancy helps them with all of this. And
yeah, so they come in and they help and they volunteer to help maintain this property. How big is it?
It's 187 acres.
187 acres.
And there's probably 80 acres of wetlands that are, it's what it is. It's wetlands. It's the headwaters of, I'm not sure what river, but, without his property here, that river would be contaminated.
Commercialized,
right,
yeah, contaminated or whatever.
Right.
That's amazing. I love that we have a bioactive trend in the hobby right now, but I kind of chuckle at the fact that we say we're setting up a bioactive natural setup
with store-bought dirt.
With store-bought dirt and sterilized moss, sterilized leaves. We go buy wood and then we sterilize it, and then we're like, yeah, and then we'll throw some springtails and isopods in it and call it a day. I'm not a soil expert, but there's hundreds of microorganisms and nutrients that all participate in breaking down soil, and it's all necessary. So obviously, we don't want any contaminants in our soil, and we don't want any like major bug issues. I don't want like an infestation of some weird fly, anything that's going to harm my animals. But where we are getting this wood from out in nature, where we're getting this substrate from, it's clean, it's naturally broken down, and there's not going to be anything in it that's going to be harmful to any of our animals. And this is the way to go. This is like true bioactive stuff. It's in my humble opinion.
Yep.
Because I didn't take a single class. I took the class of Mike Stefani, Magic Doit.
Well, you can
101.
My professor is my nose, and when I pick it up,
yes,
and I get a good smell of it, and it smells like the wet earth after a good rain, then you know it's good.
That's good stuff. That's what my storefront smells like when you walk in. Yeah. I love it.
Yep.
All right, we're going to get back to the facility. We're going to talk more about this magic doit. Doit. That's the, you got to get a...
You got to get the slang down.
Yeah, but what's the, you got to trademark doit.
Yeah, I got to trademark doit.
The cool thing about healthy soil, and again, I'm not an expert, I didn't take classes, in my humblest of humble opinions, healthy soil is able to hold moisture, but also be drainable so it doesn't get anaerobic and gross, because if it smells all sewery and swampy, you don't want that. But good healthy soil can hold moisture and humidity, hold water, but also be drainable, and hold and maintain those microorganisms and continuously feed them. So there's wood chips that are slowly broken down. The animals are breaking it down and constantly being fed. Exactly. And so we dug in that middle layer. But this is the magic. We'll talk more. We'll get to the facility and talk. Okay, I'm tired and I'm all dirty. Back at the facility, I got my car unloaded. I ended up coming home with 6 bags of doit. It's doit. We're just gonna call it doit. And here's what I'm gonna do with it. Let me show you guys. So I have 2 bags here, and we're gonna throw these in Vivs right away. We're going to re-energize and revitalize our bioactive substrates in many of my Vivs in the shop today with that stuff. And then I have these 2 bins that I put 2 bags in each. We're gonna doctor this stuff up a little bit. We're gonna spice it up a little bit. And then I'm gonna have these tubs that I can access throughout the winter months when I wanna, refreshen my Vivs. I think I made a video a month or 2 or months ago about maintaining a large collection, and I went to Menards and we got a bunch of substrates, and then I think I got sidetracked in that video. I never went back and finished it. I think we talked about daily, weekly, and monthly tasks. So we'll do a little offshoot here. One of the monthly, semi-monthly tasks here is substrates at the storefront. I want to go and recirculate the substrates, get them moving again. The top layer is always kind of fresh. The bottom layer always kind of breaks down. And I want to go under and scoop it and refreshen it again and revitalize it. And then I'm going to reseed it. And so obviously we're going to throw some springtails and isopods in to reseed them. But doit is going to be used to reseed. So there's a couple really important things that I want to say when it comes to bioactive substrates. So if you've been maintaining bioactive substrates for a while, this is what you're going to see. Let me move this water bowl really quick. And then you can see, my camera's going to do a little zooms. There's a whole bunch of springtails running around. This is some old ABG mix and some old wood chips that have been added to it. There's some magic doit that's been added to it. And you can see that there are springtails crawling around. But what you don't see are all the other microorganisms that are working to break down organic matter, that are working to keep the tank clean, hundreds of them that we can't see. If I go in here and I move these rocks out of the way, we should see some isopods. Let's lift this up and see what's going on under there. Some superworms have made themselves a home. I see some other little bugs crawling around. I don't see too many isopods. So one of the cool things, as you know, about keeping bioactive substrates are that you don't have to replace the substrate every couple months. If you spot clean for larger animals, the whole point of a bioactive habitat is that the bugs, the cleanup crew, the bioactivity is going to do all the work for you. So I don't change substrates. I've had some of these cages for 10 years that are fully planted, and I haven't replaced the substrates. What I do is I freshen the substrates. I'll add a fresh layer of substrate on the top. I'll kind of dig under and kind of mix it all together just a little bit and add some fresh leaves, but I'm always adding new forest floor, so to speak, to the top of the cage. Oh my God, I got my magic doit from today, and I'm just gonna dump it in, and then we're gonna just kind of spread it and kind of use my fingers to kind of dig it in just a little bit. Add that little fresh top layer. There's some old mold. Not mold. There's some old moss. I meant to say not mold. We're going to throw that in there, and then I'm just going to put this stuff right back on top of it. These stones are obviously, natural hiding spots for the lizards. I don't need to do it on camera, but after I get all these vivs kind of reseeded and ready to go, I'm going to go back and add a thin layer of leaf litter to the top. It's going to act as a food source for the microfauna. It's going to help kind of trap in some of that humidity that's going to be underneath, and it's just going to keep my vivs healthy. So let's reseed a little bit more of my vivs, but there's one more viv I definitely want to show you on camera as far as, evidence of bioactivity. This is my little collection of redfoots. I did just throw some mulch in here because it was in a bucket that I needed. But if I lift this up, there we go. We have some Suriname roaches, we have some powder blue isopods, we have some Kenyan roaches, there are springtails in there, there's a superworm that's made himself home, and this viv is thriving with microfauna. So the other thing I want to say about bioactive setups is a lot of time you see people using drainage layers. Drainage layers are crucial in one element of keeping a bioactive setup. If you're going to have a vivarium that's going to maintain 80, 90, 100% humidity pretty consistently throughout the day and the night, where you might have a misting system that goes off 2 or 3 times a day. These are for, poison dart frogs. I can't think of too many other. Most amphibians are going to be kept really, really humid and wet like that. Most lizards are going to need to dry out during the daytime. They could be misted in the morning and night, but they could dry out during the daytime. But if you have a viv that is like constantly humid, 90, 100% humidity, a misting system's going off 2 or 3 times a day, if that water sits and stagnates, it gets anaerobic, it smells sewery, and that's what really non-beneficial bacteria can form. And so that drainage layer helps to separate the water as it drains through. It gets into that porous bottom. It can help to maintain humidity, but it prevents your substrate from getting anaerobic and creating problems for your animals. But you don't always need a drainage layer. Drainage layers are only necessary if you're going to have an excessive amount of humidity and you need that water to drain through. Otherwise, 2 or 3 inches of substrate is perfect It'll dry out on the top, it'll hold that humidity in the bottom, but you're not gonna worry about stagnant water. Now that we got everything reseeded, reorganized, ready to go, refluffed up, re-energized, revitalized, whatever you want to call it, we have these 2 tubs. These are the bioactive substrates that I need to maintain through the winter time when I can't go collect doit. We are going to doctor this up a little bit, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do. So I know earlier in the video I made a comment about having sterilized stuff and then throwing springtails and isopods in there, and I highlighted that there's way more to bioactivity than just isopods and springtails, but they are very important parts of bioactive enclosures. I just don't think they're the only thing, but I do want to seed these tubs for the winter storage, and so we're going to add some springtail cultures, we're going to add some isopods, and then we're going to put some stuff up on the top of it. My springtail cultures aren't looking so hot. They kind of diminished a little bit, but that's okay. I'm going to dump them into the substrates, and they will get reacclimated and they will reproduce and blow up in these tubs. We have some milled sphagnum. It's sphagnum moss that has been ground really fine, and we are going to add some of this to the mixture. We have some bags of horticultural grade charcoal that's finely cut. It's really small, and we are going to add this to the mixture as well. And then we are going to add a little bit of dairy cows. There are some other species of isopod in here that we are going to mix in by taking the magic doit and supplementing it with charcoal, supplementing it with sphagnum moss, springtails and isopods. It's going to help that substrate last a little bit longer over the winter months and maintain that high level of bioactivity. I was talking that whole time about what I was doing, and I didn't realize I was hyperlapsing the whole video. So I mixed everything in. I mixed the charcoal, I mixed the sphagnum, the milled sphagnum moss. I put the springtails, isopods in there. And then I put a thin layer of kind of assorted mosses on the top. The purpose of that is to kind of keep that humidity underneath. I'm not worried about the lower layer of substrate drying out, but I don't want that top layer to dry out. So if I kind of cover it with some moss, I'm going to have a lid on the tub. It's going to keep it humid but not gross. And so let's mix this up and then we're ready to go. I love that smell. Love that smell of wet moss. So I'm just, moistening that top layer of moss that I added just to keep it from drying out. There's a cool chunk of moss right there. Thanks you guys for watching that video. This is one of my longer videos. I don't usually like to have them so long, but I appreciate it. We went with Mike to his family's farm to get magic doit. We brought it back. I wanted to show you guys how I kind of reseed my cages and get them, keep the bioactivity maintaining. And then we packed up some tubs of substrate that could last me through the winter, because there's going to be 5 or 6 months where everything's going to freeze. And I want to be able to, on a monthly basis, kind of freshen up these vivariums here. So thanks again for watching. Thanks again for subscribing. I'm trying to be way more regular on YouTube, and I'm really enjoying this. I'm having a lot of fun making these videos, making this content just about my little microcosm of reptile keeping here in Kenosha with the animals I have at the storefront, as well as my travels and my education. So keep watching. I really appreciate it, you guys, and I will talk to y'all later. Thank you so much. Take me home, country roads, to the place I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama. Take me home, country roads.